In this video, we'll learn about measurement. We'll learn about what is a construct. We'll learn how we measure constructs. We'll learn about reliability and validity as it relates to measurement of constructs. So previously, we've learned about internal and external validity. In this video, we'll begin to learn about validity and reliability as they relate to measurement in particular. So reliability refers to how consistent and precise are our measurements, and validity refers to how accurate are our measurements. So if we think of our measurements as like trying to hit a target, so if we have low reliability and low validity, then we're all over the target. So basically no consistency and not particularly accurate. Notice there's only one mark that's hit the bullseye of the target in the example on the left-hand side. In the center of this slide, we have a situation of high reliability because we have very consistent measurements all clustered in one area of the target, but low validity, not near the middle of the target, not in the bullseye. On the right-hand side, we have high reliability and high validity, so consistency and very accurate at hitting the bullseye of the target. So basically what this should show is that having high reliability is a precondition of having high validity. You can't really have high validity with low reliability. You basically have to have consistency of measurements in order for them to be accurate as a whole. So why are these things challenging to evaluate in our measurements? Well, in the social sciences, we're often interested in phenomena that cannot be measured directly. So we're not usually as interested in things like height, weight, pressure, force, things like that, physical quantities. Although certainly in exercise physiology and strength and conditioning, some of those types of things would be relevant. In the social sciences, we're interested in things like personality, leadership, attitudes, test anxiety, PTSD, self-efficacy, self-affirmation, autonomy support, organizational climate. These are just a list of constructs from students from a previous semester, what they were basically looking at in their thesis projects. But each of these things is something that we might use a questionnaire to measure sort of more indirectly. And it's difficult when we're looking at things like that to know how reliable and how valid a job we're doing of measuring those things. But there's basically a very strong science behind validating questionnaires, and we'll learn a little bit about that in this course. So these sort of abstract phenomena that were listed, examples of which were listed on the previous slide, are called constructs. They're things that cannot be measured directly. So some words that often describe constructs are hypothetical, latent. Latent just sort of means hidden. So hidden also, and unobserved. So constructs must be inferred through a set of observed variables. So often we use several items on a questionnaire to try and measure a particular construct. So for example, if the construct we're interested in measuring is autonomy support, from literature like autonomy supportive coaching or autonomy supportive parenting or things like that, we might, in the case of sport, we might use the sport climate questionnaire, which is a 16-item questionnaire. Each of them is on a 7-point Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And it just gives statements like, I feel that my coach provides me choices and options. I feel understood by my coach. I am able to be open with my coach while engaged in athletics. So, and again, 16 of these types of questions, basically looking to see how autonomy supportive the person's coach is. So what implications does this have for reliability and validity? Basically, we need to know how accurately, so how validly, and how consistently or how reliably does the instrument measure the construct. So to what extent can the scores derived from the instrument be interpreted as reflecting the construct? That's basically the challenge of creating a new questionnaire and making sure that it's both reliable and valid. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to just give some examples of definitions of specific types of reliability and validity that we'll be learning about in future videos. So for now, just pause the video when you see the definition, read the definition, and then I'll give the answer as to whether this is a type of reliability or validity. And as I said, we'll be learning more about these in detail in future videos. So the first example, consistency of a subject's scores across repeated testing sessions. This is an example of reliability. Specifically, this is called test-retest reliability. Second example, the tendency of multiple observations proposed to measure the same construct to produce the same scores. This is also an example of reliability. This is called internal consistency. Basically, internal to the questionnaire itself, how well do these different questions that are purported to measure the same construct, how well are they replicating the same scores? Example 3, the extent to which an instrument measures the construct it is intended to measure. So this is a type of validity called construct validity. And finally, the extent to which an instrument covers all aspects of the construct it is intended to measure. This is a specific type of validity called content validity. Basically, do all of my questionnaire questions, for example, do they cover all aspects of whatever it is I'm trying to measure? Does it cover all of the content? So content validity. And so as I said, we'll learn more about these different types in future videos. That's really it for the introduction to measurement, talking about constructs and the broad notions of reliability and validity. So that's all for now. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.